The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is many people's most anticipated game of 2017, and soon, on March 3rd, you will be able to pick this game up for your Nintendo Switch or your Wii U, and everyone's looking forward to it. Everyone's already saying, oh, this is going to be Game of the Year 2017, Zelda's awesome. And let's face it, most Zelda games that come out are always awesome. Maybe Skyward Sword was a bit of a mishit, but a lot of people still love that game, even though that's probably the most hated mainline Zelda game. So all of a sudden now everyone's sort of turning their back on Breath of the Wild. Why? Because of Season Pass DLC. And that's very interesting to me because when you look at what the DLC entails and you look at the gaming industry as a whole, it makes everyone look very hypocritical, from mainstream gaming press to YouTubers. Everyone's coming off really hypocritical with this Legend of Zelda Season Pass. So in this video, I'm going to talk about why I'm not only okay with the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild having DLC, but why a lot of people need a reality check and they are being very hypocritical. First things first, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is a huge game. Every bit of gameplay that we've seen shows this huge open world that you play at your own pace. And come to think of it, most Zelda games are like that. Myself, I spent about 55 hours on Twilight Princess the first time I played it on my Wii. That's the beauty of Zelda games. You could do all these side quests, you could do all these mini games, and you could have all this fun in these games. And whenever they end, you're always a bit sad, but you always want to replay it again and see if maybe you missed something, or maybe there was a mini game you didn't know about, or a character interaction. There's always tons of content in Zelda games. So for anyone to think any other reason that Breath of the Wild's not going to have a ton of content is foolish. There's already been confirmed of how many dungeons there are and how there's going to be side quests and all this stuff. And there's like 100 dungeons in the game. So now all of a sudden we're worried because they announced DLC before the game is released. Everyone's saying, announcing DLC before the game's released? You can't do that. That's just bad game. Put it in the game for free. Waka, waka, waka. Okay, let's talk about DLC for a minute. I've been playing video games for a long time, and as an Xbox 360 and PS3 owner, I remember in 2006 when DLC first came a thing on home consoles, and people were sort of against it, but as time went on, everyone grew to accept it. And that was a decade ago, over a decade ago. So Nintendo has tried DLC with two main titles of recent memory, that being Mario Kart 8 and Hyrule Warriors. Now let's look at Mario Kart 8 and Hyrule Warriors as far as DLC is concerned. Was it good DLC? Well, yeah, you got new courses, you got new characters in Mario Kart 8, you got new enemies, new people to play as, new weapons in Hyrule Warriors, new maps, all sorts of stuff. So it was a good value, and the price was reasonable. But now all of a sudden, Nintendo's doing more DLC, and that's a bad thing because they have a terrible track record of DLC, even though Mario Kart 8 and Hyrule Warriors had really good DLC, and it was a really good price. But now the whole thing is because they're announcing DLC early. Now we're all mad about that. Grr, you can't do that. Meanwhile, I've been playing games for a long time. And ever since the Xbox 360, this has been a commonplace. People talk about DLC before the game releases all the time. They did it with Resident Evil 7, didn't they? Yeah, they did. And didn't Resident Evil 7's DLC come out a week later after the game released? Yeah, it did. And how many people took to the internet? How many people took to YouTube? How many mainstream press sites all of a sudden bashed Resident Evil 7 for that? None. Nobody cared. Nobody said a peep because it's commonplace nowadays. But when Nintendo does it, all of a sudden it's a problem. Now let's look at the actual DLC in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild to see if it is worth your money. So it's going to come out in two different packs. The first pack, first off, it's $20 for the season pass. The first pack of DLC will have a hard mode, will have a Cave of Trials, and will have some treasure chests that you can only get through the DLC pack, including a Switch shirt. Now, in the latter half of the year, around wintertime, they're going to have a whole new story portion of the game and have all new areas. So for $20, you're getting two different DLC packs. They're going to come out in different times. They're going to extend the gameplay and they're going to add to the story, but not necessarily take away from the story of the main game. So realistically, what Nintendo is saying is, hey, you can buy the game and you can be done with the game. Or if you want some extra stuff, you could buy the season pass and get something soon and something down the road. What is wrong with that? How is that bad? How is a $20 season pass a bad idea when DLC for games Online, look at online-only games. Online-only games have DLC out the ass. That's their whole business model. They're charging you $60 for a game that has no single player and tons of online DLC only that you have to buy in order to play new maps and new areas and new things, and people do it all the time. Look at loot boxes on Overwatch. People buy them all the time. But we're all mad at Zelda. We're all mad at Nintendo. Do you not see how hypocritical you're being? I don't care if you're for it or against it. If you're against it though, you need to be against every bit of DLC that there is in the world, because DLC is something that's here. DLC is something that's here to stay, and that's just the way it is. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, thank you for watching videos on this channel. Be sure to check out other videos on the channel. If you really like my face, check out my Patreon, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you guys next time. Later.